There is a machine at the Red Lake. It stays still, working in silence. Every few minutes, a rocket rises from it and disappears into the sky. Around it, the Queen waits. This is the Harvester, one of the strangest sights on the surface. What follows is everything we can piece together from what's been seen, recorded, and discussed by the community. Some of it is confirmed, some of it is speculation. Either way, it tells a story worth looking into. This is more of an audiobook experience, something you can have playing in the background while you work, relax, or play. I'll play some of my own footage in the background to set the mood while we go over what's known and what's still uncertain about the Harvester and the Queen. Let's start with what we actually know. So grab a drink and let's dive in.
Red alert, Raiders. We've spotted a Harvester in your area.
When the Harvester becomes active on the surface, everything around it changes. The patrols move differently, and raiders start adjusting their routes. It draws attention the moment it appears. It always emerges at the Red Lake on the dam battlegrounds, a wide, shallow area covered in thin red water. The Harvester rests along the lake's edge, surrounded by open terrain that leaves little room to hide. Every time it appears, there's one thing you can count on. It's never alone. The Queen is always there, a massive arc construct that dwarfs almost everything else on the surface. She hovers above the Harvester, drifting close beside it, ready to engage anything that gets too near. Her presence defines the entire event. Around the area, there's often a noticeable increase in arc activity. Flying units move in slow patterns nearby, rocketeers, hornets, sometimes a snitch further out. And the snitch is the one you really need to watch for. If it detects you and manages to stay active long enough to alert others, everything nearby will converge on your position in seconds. Once that happens, escaping becomes almost impossible. The Harvester itself, despite its name, isn't a creature or a boss. It's more like a structure, something built for a purpose. Inside it, raiders can find high-tier loot, the kind of equipment that changes a whole run if you're lucky enough to bring it back. Getting there, though, is rarely simple. The real challenge is the Queen. She's already there, and sneaking past her is almost impossible. Most teams have to decide whether they'll risk everything for a chance to get inside. During the tech tests, across all regions, the Queen was only defeated a handful of times. That alone says everything about her strength and the scale of the event. The Harvester feels like something meant to draw attention, something that tests how far raiders are willing to go. Everything about it feels deliberate. Its placement, its defenders, even the rhythm of activity around the lake. And that leads to the question that still doesn't have an answer. If this machine really is harvesting something, what could possibly be found in that lake worth defending with such force? The Harvester sits fixed along the Red Lake. It looks like heavy industrial machinery, large, metallic, and built for a task that continues on its own. No visible control panels, no clear access points, no signs that it was ever meant to be handled by people. It just operates quietly, as if following a routine that never ended. Every few minutes, the machine releases a rocket into the sky. The launch is steady and predictable, always the same. Whatever it's sending, the Ark clearly considers it important enough to protect with everything they have. Its name gives us a clue, but not a full answer. Harvesting what, exactly? Some believe it could be pulling something from below the lake, resources buried under the ground, or maybe energy drawn from the terrain itself. Others think the process might be reversed, that instead of drawing material in, the Harvester could be sending something out. The rocket launches could carry data, samples, or collected matter to a larger Ark structure somewhere above the planet. If the Ark network is still active beyond the atmosphere, these rockets might be part of an automated exchange, one machine communicating with another. The Queen's constant presence near it supports that idea. Her patrols keep everything at a distance, ensuring the cycle of launches continues undisturbed. None of this feels random. The location, the timing, and the defense around it all point to an operation that still matters to the Ark. Whatever the Harvester is doing, it's something worth protecting, and something humanity still doesn't fully understand. When you watch the Harvester long enough, it stops feeling like a standalone structure. The timed rocket launches, the Queen's presence close to it, the nearby patrols that tighten and loosen through a raid, the whole scene gives the sense of a larger coordination at work. Ark behavior doesn't look scripted. It feels adaptive. Units change routes, react in ways that suggest ongoing evaluation, and sometimes make choices that are hard to predict. If the Harvester is sending rockets skyward on a schedule, there could be a receiver somewhere out there. Maybe an orbiter in low orbit, maybe a station that collects or relays the data, whatever the orbiter is. Some raiders think the Harvester acts as a local node that keeps contact with assets above the planet. Others lean toward the idea that the rockets carry samples taken from the lake or from beneath it. Both thoughts point to the same picture, ground and sky linked by a routine that still matters to the Ark. The Queen's presence fits that picture. Her patrol lines hug the lake. She keeps the area clear, holds position when needed, and closes in fast when anything gets too close. It looks like an assignment tied to the Harvester's active cycle, a role that protects the operation rather than a random patrol. Taken together, the pieces feel like parts of a system that never fully shut down. The Harvester performs its cycle. The rockets lift off. The Queen maintains the perimeter, and the nearby units adjust as conditions change. It could be maintenance, or resource transfer, or perhaps something entirely different: measurement, calibration, communication. Whatever the intent, the process continues, steady, patient, and bigger than any single raid. When the Harvester activates, it draws people in. No matter how many raids pass, there's always someone heading toward that lake. Some go out of curiosity, others for the chance of high-tier loot. Whatever the reason, the Harvester always becomes a focus point once it appears. The approach is tense. You can hear distant gunfire and see movement across the open terrain. The Queen stays close to the Harvester, heavy and constant, her shape moving between the structures and the red water. Getting anywhere near her takes patience and a lot of luck. Getting inside the Harvester is difficult enough. Getting out is worse. When the machine prepares to launch a rocket, the interior turns into an exhaust chamber. Flames rush through the vents, the same openings raiders use to get in. If you stay too long, you won't make it out. You'd come out cooked. The rush to get in, the panic to get out, is what keeps people coming back. There's something magnetic about the danger itself, something that makes raiders test their limits again and again. Curiosity plays its part, and so does pride. Whatever the reason, the Harvester keeps pulling people towards it, almost like it was built to see how close humanity is willing to get. The Red Lake is shallow. You can see the ground through the water, thin and uneven, stretching towards the Harvester. The color stands out from everything else around it, visible even from far away. What could create that tint? One grounded idea is simple chemistry. Iron-rich sediment can stain water red when it oxidizes, especially in places where the ground is exposed and flooded in a thin layer. Another straightforward thought is contamination. Runoff from old infrastructure, wreckage, or long-abandoned pipelines could leach color into the water over time. There's also something else to consider. If you look at the map, far to the southwest, past Buried City, you'll see an area called Volcano Rise, and right next to it, Tricolo. It's possible that geothermal activity there might be connected to the terrain surrounding the dam battlegrounds. Maybe traces of volcanic minerals flow through underground channels, slowly tinting the lake over years. It would explain why the color seems so fixed, even though the water itself is so shallow. Of course, it could also be something entirely natural. The land simply carrying the memory of older processes beneath the surface. Whether it's mineral, volcanic, or chemical, the lake stands out for a reason. and that reason is likely what brought the Harvester there in the first place. The Queen remains one of the most striking sights on the surface, a huge, spider-like arc construct that towers over the Harvester and dominates the entire area. Every part of her design looks built for control, with long reach, solid stability, and the power to command space. What she represents inside the Ark network is still unknown. Many believe she's a high-ranking unit, possibly one that manages or protects key operations. Her presence at the Harvester supports that idea. She doesn't roam far from it, and every time the event appears, she's there without fail. Others think the Queen isn't unique, that she's one of several large guardians tied to different sites, each operating within its own region. If that's true, then what we see at the lake might just be one piece of a much wider defense system. During the tech tests, the Queen was almost impossible to defeat. Only a handful of confirmed takedowns were ever recorded, and most of those came from well-equipped teams working together under perfect conditions. That level of strength suggests importance. If the Ark still prioritizes energy, data, or whatever the Harvester collects, it makes sense that this location is one of its most protected. Maybe the Queen isn't a symbol of power at all. Maybe she's simply part of the process, a unit assigned to ensure that the Harvester continues its task without interruption. There's a theory that keeps coming up in the community. What if the Ark isn't entirely alien? What if some of its systems were built on top of technology that already existed before the collapse? Before the fall, humanity created facilities meant to operate on their own. Energy sites, research stations, automated factories. If any of those survived, the Ark could have found them, repurposed them, or used them as foundations for its own structures. Some have suggested that the Harvester might have started as one of those systems, a human-made facility reactivated long after its creators were gone. But that seems unlikely. Nothing about the Harvester feels familiar. There are no visible traces that point back to us, no features that seem built for people. Everything about it looks foreign, as if it was made by something that thinks differently, works differently, and never considered human use at all. If any connection exists, it's buried far beneath the surface, a quiet echo of what once was. And maybe that's enough to explain the unease people feel when they see it. It's close enough to remind us of our own creations, but distant enough to make us realize it isn't ours anymore. After everything we've seen, the Harvester remains one of the most mysterious structures on the surface. It's more than an event. It's a glimpse into how the Ark continues to function, steady and distant. Above the lake, rockets continue to rise into the sky. Around them, the Queen moves in slow circles, guarding the site with relentless precision. Below, the red water stays still and quiet, no matter how many times raiders return. Each raid begins, ends, and resets, yet the Harvester keeps working, unaware of anything around it. Maybe that's the quiet truth behind all of it, that the world above has moved on while we're still trying to make sense of what's left behind. The next time you hear that distant launch echo across the valley, think about what it means. What's being sent up there? And who or what might be waiting to receive it? Stay safe out there, and I'll see you in the next one.